Hey guys, Crow here. Um, this video is actually kind of being made a little bit late. I meant to work on it a couple of weeks ago, and I've been sick. I got better, uh, and then I got lazy. But I'm doing it now, so here it is. Um, a couple of weeks ago, I decided I was going to play Final Fantasy VIII on As the Crow Flies live on my Twitch channel. So I loaded up the Steam version because I don't have a capture card yet. Started a new game, and the nostalgia just came flooding back. Wandered around Balam Garden, took in those PlayStation 1 era graphics, met up with Quistis, and we went to go fight Ifrit. And I made sure to draw some magic before leaving. Um, Junctioned up our Guardian forces so we'd be set. Got into a few random battles on the way, of course. And, of course, got into some more battles inside the cave. And as I was doing that, I thought to myself, why did I like this game back then? Um, I honestly really enjoy the story that Final Fantasy VIII has. And I think that's the only thing that kept me going back then and drove me to finish the game back when I was in high school. Um, Actually, I think I finished it just after I was in high school because I think it came out after I graduated. Uh, I can understand why some people don't like the story. It can be pretty confusing at times, even if you're paying like the utmost level of attention. But for me, and I never realized this until I was playing it a couple of weeks ago. For me, the biggest issue with Final Fantasy VIII is the character building system. Like I said, I love the story, but I never realized just how bad the character building system is. Um, Fans of the overall Final Fantasy series know that Square Enix, formerly known as Squaresoft, likes to change things up and try something a little different with each game. Final Fantasy 1, 3, and 5, they had the job system. 2 had a skill-based system. I'll do another video about that. 7 had the materia system, and 8's got this dual junctioning Guardian Force system that kind of works together with each other. You can't use one without the other. Sort of. These were really cool ideas in theory. But I'll talk about them. I'm going to talk about junctioning first. The junctioning system is really neat. You can take magic spells and attach them to your stats to improve those stats. The way magic works in this game, though, is there's no MP, no magic points. Spells have a number of casts available up to 100 per spell. This means anyone can learn magic. The more casts a character has for a spell they have junctioned, the higher the boost is you get for that stat. Pretty cool, right? But this means you now have a problem. Magic is a valuable commodity to be hoarded and never used. Your characters still level up, of course, but they don't really gain much when they level up other than some hit points when they level. And in Final Fantasy VIII, monsters level with you, so in order to be strong enough to combat them, you need to junction your spells to your stats. So because of this, you end up doing one of two things. You'll, A, junction your most powerful spells to your stats and never really cast anything. Or B, you'll junction weaker spells and you won't get as much of a boost to your stats, but you'll still have your stronger spells available to cast. Magic itself is the main issue with junctioning here. In order to get magic, you have to draw it, either from preset draw points, which are around the world in various towns, dungeons, buildings, whatever, or from monsters. Every monster you run across has anywhere from 2 to 4 spells available. This is also the only way to get certain Guardian forces because you'll have to draw them from bosses. Unfortunately, you won't be able to equip them until you've killed the boss. Each time you draw, you'll only get a few casts of that spell, and you'll have to specify which spells you want to grab, which means you may end up spending lots of time in battle just gathering spells to junction. One other important thing is required to junction spells, though. It's your Guardian forces. And, we'll go into that next. Guardian Forces are Final Fantasy VIII's summoned monsters. Your Espers, your Eidolons, whatever you want to call them. Summoned monsters have always been pretty cool, though, no matter what they've been called. Final Fantasy VIII makes them even cooler, sort of. Your Guardian Forces level up just like your party does. And the reason for this, there's a couple reasons. When a character summons their Junctioned Guardian Force, that Guardian Force's hit points replace your character's hit points during the summoning sequence. This means anytime a monster hits that character, they're actually doing damage to the Guardian Force instead. I kind of like this. It kind of gives you more hit points. So when a Guardian Force levels up, they get more HP. Also, after most battles, and this is another issue I'll get to, any Guardian Forces you have junctioned gain AP as well. Each Guardian Force has a selection of skills and abilities that they can learn with this AP. These range from new stats to junction for your playable characters, power increases for the Guardian Forces summons themselves, certain out-of-combat party abilities, and then, of course, combat skills. Yes, equipable skills are back, just like in Final Fantasy V. Pretty cool, right? Not quite. This does allow for character customization, but here's the thing. Without a single Guardian Force equipped, the only command your characters have is fight. Yeah, they can't even use items in combat without junctioning a Guardian Force. This leads to the first issue with the Guardian Force portion of the game's character building. Your characters are useless without them. Guardian Forces are mandatory. This is the same trap that Materia fell into in Final Fantasy VII. No problem though, right? I'll just do some battles and level my Guardian Forces, have them learn their skills, and... Oh no. You see this? This isn't even as bad as it gets. 40 AP, 50 AP. The cheapest skills that most Guardian Forces have is Boost, which is a paltry 10 AP to learn. Most skills run about 30 to 60. Some even cost about 150 AP to learn. Not so bad, yeah? Wrong! The most AP you're getting early on from enemies is about 1 to 2 AP if they give you anything at all. Yeah, there's a lot of difficult fights that give you nothing. Nothing at all. No experience, no AP. And why are they difficult? Because the game makes sure you're underpowered as hell from the get-go. I can hear some of you now. Well, of course you're going to be weak in the beginning, Crow. It's the start of the game. You're not supposed to steamroll everything. Don't be a dumb shit. I get that. I know you're not supposed to load the game up and be godly right away, but there's starting off a game a little underpowered, and starting off a game weaker than a newborn kitten with a fucking brain tumor and no bones. And you can't even really buy new equipment for your characters to make them stronger in the beginning. Yeah, you don't buy new weapons. Hell, you don't really buy much of anything. I mean, you spend money on staying at the inn and items occasionally, but, I mean, what's the point, really? Monsters don't even give you gil. You earn a paycheck every so often, the amount of which depends on how well you do at quizzes you can take at your desk in Balam Garden. Now, I do kind of like this idea, because it drives home the fact that you're not necessarily saving the world because you're a hero. You're saving the world because it's your job. You're a guy getting paid to save the world. If you're a fan of the Rooster Teeth show Ruby, or at least vaguely familiar with it, you can think of gardens as kind of being similar to the Huntsman's Academies. Your characters, aside from one, are students at a combat school, and graduating means you're now doing this as a job. But back to the weapons. You get new weapons by building them. Cool, right? Okay, sure. But in order to do this, you need a few things. A certain Guardian Force skills to make certain items. You have to rely on piss-poor RNG for monster drops. And you also have to find weapons magazines that have the blueprints for the weapons you want to upgrade. The thing is, the magazines only have articles on 1 or 2 weapons, which means you'll often find magazines for 1 or 2 specific characters, and then you have to scrounge to find the magazines for everybody else. This is incredibly annoying because it means characters may end up going without upgrades for quite a while. Between upgrading weapons and occasionally buying recovery items, like I said, you'll never use gil for anything. So if you're proud of yourself for acing every single quiz to max your paycheck out, don't be. because you're going to be sitting on the maximum amount of gil for most of the time for little effort and nothing to do with the money. I don't know why I never realized the game had all these problems when I played it years ago. I guess I just wasn't so critical back then. I've kind of gotten a lot more critical as I've gotten older, and I realized that. I don't mean to nitpick everything. Like I said in the beginning, I really enjoy Final Fantasy VIII's story, but damn, this game really kicks you in the dick when you start up. It's like, oh, you dared to put this disc into your PlayStation? Fuck you. I hope you like needless grinding, shithead. I don't know. I might continue playing my save file for the PS1 version at some point, but not anytime soon, and don't expect me to stream it.